Welcome to the Unplugged podcast, brought to you by the team at Under the Mango Tree.
Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, Galuh. Thank you for joining in. This is the third episode of Unplugged, where KNI peers from APAC share their passions. I want to thank you for your time, your submission, and your interest in speaking to us. Just to introduce to everyone that's listening, hi everyone. This is Galuh. She is from the KNIP team within the Geo vertical based out of Jakarta. And she runs a non-profit organization for women's empowerment in Indonesia. I will let her speak, but this is a very unique topic, which I am super thrilled to interview Galuh. But before we get into it, Galuh, would you like to let us know more about yourself? How long you've been at Google? What were you doing before this? Anything that you'd like to share?
Sure, Arindam, thank you so much for also hosting this. And again, I really enjoy this format, this Unplugged podcast. I really enjoyed the episode before, and I think this is a very great platform for Googlers to also share their interests outside their work. So hi everyone, I'm Galuh. As Arindam has said, I'm a KNI peer in Geo team. I work for Indonesia market, so I work together with Cordula's team, and very privileged to also work under Kirk leadership. I've been in Google, compared with the other, it's very not long. So I joined January 2022. It was a really New Year resolution, which is to not get fired, and I did that, so I'm still here. So yeah, for now I think then it's around 1.5 years. Before that, I was working in Berlin for around 7 years, and always in a kind of startup mobility industry. I did my master degree in Berlin as well from government scholarship, Indonesian government scholarship. I studied urban planning in the specialization of transport management. So yeah, very clear to also share a little bit about my side project to you all.
Thank you, and what a lovely introduction, and great to have you on the team. So Galuh, tell us about your nonprofit organization that you run, Mastara. Mm-hmm. What does it do? When did you found it?
Yeah, so Mastara is my NGO that I found together with my co-founder. I started it in 2021. So a little bit background of it is that since I was in Berlin, I always have this passion to help women in Indonesia. I really didn't know how, I really didn't know in what way, but there is always something, it's always in the back of my mind. And every time, before I sleep, for example, I always think about it, what are the things that I did? I tried several things, mostly failed before I even started. I don't know why. It just it's never really clicked with me. So in 2021, during pandemic, I had this idea that there are actually so many it started with this idea. So I was checking LinkedIn, and I just realized there are so many Indonesian women who are working in Germany. And for me, it was very inspiring because it was very hard actually to get a job in German as an Indonesian woman. First thing first, our passport is very weak. So it's very hard as well to go abroad and getting a job in Europe. So I was thinking that it's actually very inspiring what all these women do. And my idea was only to get everyone together, create a forum or platform to basically to just network and learn from each other. That's it. It's very simple. And then when I was cooking this idea, I was thinking then what, right? Okay, for example, we network together, we learn, and then what is there any other thing that we can do? And while I was wondering about the answer of this big question, I had a younger sister. I have a younger sister, and she just graduated from university in 2021, and she asked me so many questions she was basically lost. She graduated. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know what she was passionate about. She didn't know what kind of how is actually to start a career. She had like all amazing grade. She had like already the university paper, and then she has like this big question. Then what, right? And then this makes me feel, if my sister who already have me, and she was confused, right? She was confused and didn't know what to do. What about like other girls who doesn't have sister, or who are in the environment that doesn't enable them to pursue what they want, or they didn't even know what's possible or not? So this actually basically answer my first question, right? So maybe I can connect these dots. So I can make like all the professional women, doesn't matter, it could be in Indonesia or outside Indonesia, helping the Indonesian girls who just graduated from university and tell them or mentor them like, hey, I've been in your position and these are the do and don'ts. This is how you can start a career. These are the common mistakes that you do. So it's very like, I would like to build an early career development boot camp, where I connect these professional women and also women who basically is about to start their career, how to apply to job and etc. And then when I was like cooking this idea, I went back to Indonesia 2021 during pandemic, and I just realized that I was actually very lucky. My younger sister was very lucky. We got the education, and many of my high school friends didn't. I was in the market. I was in the traditional market very early morning, accompanying with my mother. And then I met my high school friend. Her name is Yusria, and Yusria is one of the smart girl that I know in my life. She's very smart. She's very diligent. She always finish her homework, and I always copy it. And she always wanted to be a teacher. And this is like a girl that every time she always talk about her dream to become a teacher. And then I met in that market. I was so excited to see her. It's been like years we didn't meet each other. And then she asked me, how am I doing? What do I do? And I said like, I'm working in Berlin. And she was so happy for me. But I see that her eyes, there's kind of like not envy, but more like so many questions like, and then she asked me so many questions like, how is it actually to study? You know, like, how is it working in outside Indonesia? How is it to have your own work? And then I asked her, so how do you do? Like, what do you do at the moment? How was your life basically after high school? Because at that time we didn't have phone, right? And we lost contact. And then she said, I got married, and that's it. When she said I got married, we both know that nothing, you know, it's like it's done. Your life is done. She had 4 children now when I met her in traditional market. And she said to me, you know what, even though I didn't go to school or I didn't go to university, I'm not a teacher as well at the moment, but I wish my girls will be able to go to university. And from that moment, I know that there must be something that we could do, right? And then during pandemic as well, I read that the early the child marriage in Indonesia was increasing to be 300% more in Indonesia. And this is like a 300% from already like a very big number. And this is very sickening for me. I was like so sick to read that. And I was like, is there anything that I just one individual can do to help up reduce the number? Or just like, I mean, when we read like this 300, just a number, right? But this other people's life, you know, it's girls' dream. There are millions of like girls' dream that is being crushed with their numbers. So then it connect the other dot from the NGO that I was like, that it was still in my mind. All the profit, all the work we do for the early career development program, the profit will be, we will use it to host an empowerment program for underprivileged girls. for people like Yusria or maybe her daughters, what about if we give them a little bit of tools to become more independent, or at least to know what are other options that they have? And then that's the start of it. And then I just called my best friend who also live in Berlin. She's also Indonesian. Like, hey, I have this idea. Are you in? And she was like, count me in. Let's do it together. So yeah, this is how it started. 2021, March 2021, and we are now already 2 years old.
Wow, such an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing this. So can you tell us, what does Mestara do? What are some of the programs that you run? And how do you do it?
So in the beginning, we really only started. In the beginning, we wanted to test the idea first, whether actually this is just my sister problem, or it's actually there is a demand and it's a legit problem that we can solve. So I was doing a little bit of product testing. So I put out a bootcamp. In the beginning, it was just like a weekend bootcamp about early career in the university where my sister was, and she had a very amazing network of friends, and we just like put out a poster there, and we received more than 60 registrants, and it was like no big marketing, it was just like word of mouth, and we received like this amazing sign up. We did that the weekend bootcamp, and me and my co-founder were saying that actually, so there is a market for this. So we started with early career development program. So it's a 4 weeks until 6 week program. We give them webinar and training every week about, for example, how to tailor your CV, mock interviews, how to write essays for a master degree, how to negotiate for your salary, how to do career exploration, how to switch your career, all the things, all the tools that we didn't learn it in school. And then we also pair them with a mentor. So not only they got like this amazing seminars, they also like have someone they can kind of like listen to their problem and guide them through this process. We did that. It's paid program, so there is a fee for it. But we always give scholarship. We always give like a spot, kind of like 20% spot of scholarship to the girls who have challenges in their finance. Then it's 100% free for them. And from the payment, so all the profit for that program, we use it for our women empowerment. With that first program, we then started from that program. We actually received so many feedback from the mentees. Why they got rejected from job application is because they couldn't speak English. They are not fluent when the interviewer was asking them to do the interview in English. Therefore, we have a second program, which is the Mestara English Convo Club, where we basically just like speak. We did that like twice a week. We do it every month, twice a week per batch. And then we open the registration every month. And now Mestara English Convo Club, we receive 60 girls per month to do like this English Convo Club. That is the second program. The third program is the offline networking, because most of our program, all of our program are online. We also want them to meet and network and find kind of like give them a safe space to share their feelings, share their stories. We also do it every month, every quarter in Jakarta at the moment. So in total, we have 4 programs. So the early career development mentorship, the second one is the Mestara English Convo Club, offline seminars and networking. And then the fourth one is all of the profit that we got for the previous 3 programs. We give it for the women empowerment for underprivileged girls. What we did there is very different from one area to another. Because some community, for example, the problem is that the girls didn't know how, or cannot access education because their financial problem. So what we did is that we give seminar and weeks of boot camp about applying for a scholarship. What are the scholarship out there for university bachelor degree? We always give them a sex education. We tell them about domestic violence, because they don't know what domestic violence, because they married so young that sometimes they went to the police, for example, when they're already like so in a very bad condition, because they didn't know where is the limit, right? We give them like sex education. In some areas, we even give them 2 weeks of sewing workshop. So we really teach them how to sew, and we also give a sewing machine in their community, because we know that maybe school is not even in their priority, as in also not in their option. So then we know that then at least they have other practical skill they can use to maybe be financially independent, or at least having like an income from their own. So this is what we do. Basically, that's all Mastara program.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. But thank you for sharing. One question that I had is, why did you choose to found this as a completely new organization, then work with other existing organizations? What was your motivation to start something new? You mentioned that child marriages took a spike during the pandemic, but you're being based in Jakarta. How were you able to reach out to that network of people that you think would have needed that bit of support from this organization?
Because I come from that kind of community, right? Because I was not born in a from a privileged background. So I was actually born and raised in that community. I was born and raised, a little bit about my background. So I was born and raised in a very small village in Indonesia. When I was a kid, the village was, I think we have around 500 people, but today I check it, amazing. They have now around 1,000 people, so it doubles since like a decade ago. And I know how it feels to not able to access your dream. When I was a kid, my dream was very small, in my opinion, compare it now. All I want to do is like to learn how to play music instrument, for example. Even that, it's not possible because it's too far. There is no one teaching in the village, so I have to go to around like 20 kilometers to the nearest town. And then who will bring me there? There's no public transportation. My parents doesn't have a motorcycle. And then after school, then it's going to be too dark to go home because we don't have public lamps in our roads. And then it's same story with me really want to be radio announcer at that time, because radio was one of the luxury item that I have at home. Not possible. So I start to stop dreaming. Why should I, right? Because I think as a human, it's our instinct to dream of something that we know we can achieve. Maybe hard, but we know we can achieve. If I cannot even learn or taking learning from like 20 kilometers away, like what about other bigger dreams, right? So I never really had a dream since I was a kid. Well, when I was a kid. But my sister was a dreamer. She was I have an older sister. She was a very, very determined person. She was a very ambitious kid. She had so many dreams. Not only like she had a big dream, but she had so many big dreams. She's very good at studying. She's very smart. She's a very obedient with my parents. She's a model kid in the village. So I know that she will go far, and I know that she will be something. At least in our household, there is like her. And then the turning point was when I remember I was 16 and my sister was 20 or 21, I forgot, or even 19. It was August and I was wondering, should I go to university? Should I just like work? Should I just help my parents? And then at that time, my sister already studying. and she had to stop because my parents forced her to marry. They forced her to marry someone that she didn't know. They, I think, like 10 years older than her, or even 15. And that is the first time I saw all her dream was basically crushed. And she shut down, means that she became so numb. Like, every time my parents say something, she would just say like, yeah, sure. And then I said to her, I remember in her wedding, like a night before her wedding, I said to her, you know what, let's run away. Let's just run away. I'll bring my motorcycle and then we can just go somewhere. And then she said to me, when you grow up, you will understand why I said yes. You will understand why I do this. And then she married, and then the day after she got married, she told me, you have to get out from here. You have to find your way, and you will have to work very, very hard, but you have to study. You have to go. And that is like when all of it started. Like, I studied, and then I worked very, very hard to study, to pay my bills, to pay the university. And then I got like help along the way. I got scholarship to study in Berlin. I feel like I'm so lucky. I know that I work very hard, but in a way, I'm also very lucky because if, for example, my other friend, Yusria, if she has just the opportunity to take the test, university test, because she couldn't even afford to go to the town, right, to take the university test. If she could take the university test, I'm pretty sure she will get spot in the university. And if she have time to apply for a scholarship, instead of like having go to the rice farm, helping her parents do all the household chores, she will get the scholarship spot. But she didn't have a chance. I had a chance. And I feel so lucky. I have so many support along the way. And I just feels like I'm in debt. I'm in debt with the community where I come from. I'm in debt with other girls who has my sister's stories, who have Yusria's story. And they have no one who helped them, right? And they don't know who to ask to, and they don't know whether actually there's other option. Because people like us, girls like my sister, unfortunately, we feel like, our life has been decided since we were born. Because that's how women are, right? So this is why I feel that it's something that I just have to do. Because it's very personal to me, because I know that I have the privilege and I just need to give it back.
Thank you for sharing that story. That was really powerful, and my respect for you and hearing your story and sharing this. I just wanted to say thank you. So tell us, what does Mastara mean? How many people have enrolled in your programs? You mentioned about the 4 programs. Do you have any plans to add more programs to this?
So Mastara actually means Stara in Bahasa means equal, and me is actually for our verb, Indonesian verb, is always started with me because it's an active thing. So that is like the philosophy behind the name. So Mastara means like to get into the equality, there is a work to do. We cannot just like sit around and then someone else will do it for us. It should be like an active work. So that's the philosophy and meaning behind Mastara. Regarding on how many girls that they already participated in our program, we are so happy that actually until today we have more than 2,000 girls that has enrolled in all of our programs. And whether we want to add more program, I think the focus for now is to expand it, but not in the, this is a very Google term, it's not on the vertical, but on the geographical. So now our program is very, especially the women empowerment for underprivileged girl. Now it's really focusing on the rural area in Java, but the issues in the other islands outside Java is even more stark. So we would like to bring our program like beyond Java. So these are our focus at the moment.
Oh, thank you. I know I've seen your website around Mastara. I just wanted to know, how do you fund the running of Mastara? You mentioned that you charge a small fee and then you also provide discounts. But to run such a large program and to fund it during a tough time during the pandemic, and now since we've emerged from the pandemic and your plans to take it to more regions, how do you fund this? Have you received funding from other organizations, or you've done it within your founding group? Will you share more?
Yeah, so I think it was like really the universe has provided me a way. At that time, and I was not even kidding. So I was just praying to God, just help me. I don't know how, but like help me. I want to do this. And then a month later, so in the beginning, like I used my own fund to do that, and it was not much running cost, right? Because me, my co-founder, and actually my younger sister, I just like asked her to work at this as well. We work as a volunteer. And then a month after that, it was my birthday, 2021. I got amazing birthday present from my friend. So my boyfriend, he organized a money pool from all my friends and also my colleagues at that time. And it was the first donation we received. It was around 500 euro. The gesture really, really touched me, and that was the first fund that we got to basically run the program for the next. I think we could run with that money around 3-4 months, and then we received more private donation from friends and family, and we always also open kind of like a donation for scholarship. And then most of the large chunk of the operational cost was basically covered by the fee that we take. So it's a very kind of like 80%, 70% bootstrapping. So it's kind of like money in, money out. And then the rest 30% is for now, it's from private donation.
Awesome, thank you. And so, how do women find out about Mastara? What do you do to encourage enrollment?
Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, it was really word of mouth, especially women in the final year of university. They really share everything, like most of the thing. And I have been there as well. So it really comes fast as a word of mouth, and then I was also like very privileged to have some friends who are social media influencer. And she also helped me to kind of like market this, like show them like, hey, there is this amazing program. And most of the time, like it's really word of mouth.
Awesome. And I know you have a website and you have social media handles. Would you like to show that to us and what you do, and even share some of the clips that you have on some of these social media handles?
Sure. So this is our social media. So we are running like most of the time through Instagram, because this is how it is in Indonesia. Everything goes through Instagram. Now we have 19.2 thousand followers, which is like we're very, very proud of it. And then we have, for example, a little bit of picture of how does our program look like. So this is actually the first women empowerment event we did, and it's like I've come in a full circle. This is a community in my village. So those are the girls learning about sewing, and the tailor is also like she's a local tailor. So they learn how to sew. We also like give them a sewing machine as well. And yeah, so this is when they learn about sex education from a local nurse. We also like, basically we don't say like don't get married early, but we told them like these are the risks if you get pregnant. If you get pregnant before 18 or like before 20. She is my older sister. she taught her story. She told her story in that community and how she get out of the a bad journey that she was. She finally just a little bit like continue a story about my older sister. When she got married with this guy, she really tried to keep studying. So she enrolled to university. She studied law, and then after 4 years, she studied there. She tried to get divorced. And Indonesia, especially in a rural area, divorcing is very hard. Not so many lawyers want to help you with that, but because she's studying law, she can stand up for herself. And she now volunteer in kind of counseling for underprivileged girl who also basically having a challenge of domestic violence. And therefore, I also invite her to share her story and to share about domestic violence in that community as well, because then they can relate to, right? Because she's been there. So yeah, this is our social media. We have a very good engagement, actually. Our community is very engaged. We also have our website. This is our website. This is me giving the opening about the sewing bootcamp. So yeah, if you wanna check out more, everyone, so you can go to mastara.org.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, and congratulations on a nice social media profile and a website that is engaging. I take a look, and I encourage anyone that is seeing the program to at least go visit the social media handles and the website and to subscribe. I believe you have a newsletter that you publish regularly, so to keep updated. Thank you. So I saw some of the photos and it was very interesting. What is the typical profile of some of the women that enroll into your program? Like, what is the levels of education, the age range, what type of, are they working, are they not? If they're working, what type of background, what type of work are they doing? If you can share some of that profile.
So for the early career development one, many is actually coming from urban areas. They just like my sister, they was feeling a little lost. They was feeling like they didn't know what to do after university. Many of them feel like maybe it's better for me to get married because I couldn't get a job. But they also don't know how to apply like a good application for to get a good job, right? Because especially when you are not in a circle of professional women, no one really told them, and many of these women also, I feel that, and this is very subjective, I feel that they also lack of role model, because all the role model the social media kind of like showcase is very far. Like they cannot relate to. They're like celebrities who study in Harvard and they're coming from a rural area and then study in like bigger town. It's too far for them and they don't know what they can achieve. If people keep saying dream big, they don't know what are the dream that they can achieve. Just like me when I was young. So these are most of the profile in early career development program that we have. Many of them also like working so many jobs and they just need some guidance. They want to know, like, sometimes their question is just, is there an end to this? Whether I can step up, whether I can get out of like this situation. And then for the women empowerment program for underprivileged girls, most of them we give the program to high school girls or junior high school girls. So between 14 until 16, because we would like to talk about sex education. Sometimes their community didn't allow us to discuss about it if the age are kind of like under 14. So our participants are between 14 until 16 years old. many of them already know that they will not go to university. Many of them, like, they don't know why they should go to university, and some of them are even already in Indonesia. In rural area, there is a culture when the man asks the parents for their daughter, and if the man is kind of like in a better financial situation, the parents will just like let her go, kind of, right, like marry them. So we have many of the girls are already being asked, and they're already like getting like ready to get married, and sometimes they don't even know that it's a bad thing. If I, for example, if my older sister married when she was 19, my neighbor married when she was, I don't know, 17, this is something that I maybe want to as well. This is something that for me, like, this is a standard. See, they don't know like any other thing. So with that kind of like community, it's very important for us to give the approach of, it's okay if you want to get married, but it is, we tell them about the legality. This is what happened with your child. For example, this is the risk, the health risk that you will have. These are the things that you need to, these are, for example, the context of many NGO that works with domestic violence victim, rape victim, for example. So we also like tell them all of it, and and sometime in that program they say that, oh, this is the first time someone asked me my dream, right? So no one ever asked them that. No one ever asked them what they want to be. And one girl was even like crying to me and said, I don't know that I actually want to be a doctor, but today when I say that in front of the class, I just realized I really actually want to be a doctor. Because they always kind of like buried their dream, and they're like 15. This is the age when sometimes, we really motivate them to kind of like, study hard. But yeah, so these are the profile in terms of like challenges, and also like the demographic of the girls that participated in our programs.
Thank you for sharing that. So how many women have enrolled into your program from the beginning? How many volunteers do you have? And how often, you said you run these programs once a quarter, but having these different programs, how do you run it? I'm assuming you're not present in every single program. What's the modus operandi for running these programs?
Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, we already have 2,000 girls that have participated in our programs, all of our programs. It's a very community run, so we have 12 volunteers now. All of them is working between 10 until 15 hours per week, and they are under the contract for 6 months. They can extend it, and they can also like just terminate the contract. 90% of volunteers extend their contracts. This is basically unpaid volunteer, but they have such a like satisfaction feeling when they know that their work is very impactful, and they also went to the villages, for example, and they can really see the impact of their meaningful work. So yeah, now we have 12 volunteers as per today. How do we do that? So for English Convo Club, we do it every month. I was also like the facilitator there, but we also have another volunteer who also facilitate the class. For the early career development program, we actually just closed the registration for the 6th batch. We do that between 2 until 3 batch per year. This one is the 6th batch, and we engage for each batch we engage with around 50 mentors from different amazing companies in Indonesia.
Well, thank you. So what has been your experience in running this organization, and what are some of the challenges that you have faced?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Arinda, like the challenge is a lot. I thought okay. to be very honest with you, whenever I see 2 years ago, whenever I saw like founder title, I feel like, oh my God, it's such a sexy title, right? And then I became one, and it wasn't sexy at all. There are so many unsexy work that you need to do as a founder. In the beginning, I was like a little bit of everything. I was the marketing person. I wrote the content. I was also a mentor. I do customer service. I also do the research. I was the community developer person. So I was like literally a little bit of everything. It was very exhausting. Therefore, I actually resigned from my previous job to run only Mastara for 6 months before I joined Google. And it was a very humbling experience. So that is one. And another one as a challenge is that I never lead a big team. From my previous work, I think the biggest team that I led was only like 2 until 3 team members. And now I suddenly have to lead 11 volunteer, right? And there is a difference between leading like people who you paid and people who basically you don't pay. Because the other one is like you need to try to find their why and try to really like still bring the best out of your team member without giving too much expectation, because they work as a volunteer on a volunteer base. And I learned so much to be a people manager, and this is the time that I will give a shout out to Cordula and Kurt, because I learned so much from their leadership skill. I learned how to listen more. I learned how to actually really sharpening the strength of each team member. I learned a lot from many Googlers. This is a very small example. I learned a lot also from Naomi. Naomi, if you listen to this, I learned a lot from Naomi how to run like a very effective, how to do like work very effectively, for example, and how to convey a message. Because as an NGO, this is like a great thing that you have to do, right? Like you have to really share the narrative well. So the challenge is most of the challenge is how to be a good manager and the hardest for me that is okay to sometimes not being liked.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Yes, it can be challenging, and I can imagine, or I can just think of what some of the things that you've had to do to set this organization up. So as you look into the future, how do you want Mastara to evolve? Where do you want it to be from a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? And do you eventually plan to run this full time, or do you plan to have a professional team run this? How do you see that evolving?
For now, I don't see myself like working full time there yet. But I can see the team can be really like scale up. And if I imagine 5 years from now, I really want to hit 10K girls. They participated in our programs. And a decade from now, there are 3 things that I would really love to have. The first one is that we will be finally able to scale up in terms of geographically, especially for our women empowerment for underprivileged girls. We really want to help girls outside Java, because Indonesia has like 17,000 islands, and Java is just like one of it. And I know that most of them had kind of like a similar problems, and we want to listen, right? We want to learn. And so that is the first one. We would like to scale up in terms of geographically. The second one is we would like to have a playbook, for example, for the curriculum. For example, if we go to community A and the girls have a problem of XYZ, these are the trainings that we need to do, because then it's easier for us to scale up, right? And then the third one is we would love to have more partners in terms of like NGO. We would like to partner with the government more. We would like to partner with companies who have the same mission, because if we're running this alone, like there is only so much we can do, right? But imagine if we like really work together to really help to basically like solve a little bit of this problem, then we can really double, triple, quadruple the impact that we can do. So this is my dream, and now I'm not afraid anymore to dream. So because I know that this is achievable.
Right. And so, you mentioned about this. How can Googlers in Indonesia and outside Indonesia who may not be conversant in Bahasa Indonesia can contribute to your organization?
Amazing question. I think the first one is we are registered in GoGive, so you can like we will be very, very grateful if you can also like donate to our organization. This will help us really scale up in terms of like geography, because the problem for now is that most of the underprivileged girls are living in a isolated area, or just area that is very hard to access, and it's also like very expensive to access those areas. So these are actually our main challenges at the moment. Therefore, we cannot scale up or go there. So yes, GoGive is one of the way. The second one is be our advisor. Me and my co-founder coming from engineering and social science background, so we have so many things that we still can learn about marketing, how to reach out to more girls, how to actually share our messages, how to convey the messages that everyone can easily understand what who we are and what we do. So yeah, please just contact me, DM me, chat me if you have like, I don't know, anything that you would like to share. So be our advisor, and you can also track your time in GoSurf. Now it's June. You can like amazingly track in GoSurf and track it under our NGO. The third one is network. If you have like any network, it doesn't need to be in Indonesia. It would be amazing if it's in Indonesia. If you have any network for community who are similar with us or has the similar mission with ours, feel free to introduce me as well, because I think we can still learn so much for already like established NGO. Another thing is that we also like, maybe they have the same challenges with us and they've been there, so it would be amazing if we have like a NGO mentor or something. And then network, for example, for social impact ventures that you can introduce it to us. That would be amazing. So whatever you have in mind, just talk to me, and then I think any small support is always appreciated.
Thank you, Galuh. And anyone listening to this segment, if you want to reach out, feel free to chat, ping, email, or just reach out to Galuh. Walk over to Galuh in whatever capacity, whether it's monetary or non-monetary. If you want to contribute to Mastara, please feel free to reach out to her.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So thank you, Galuh. And so let's ask you a few dreamy questions. You spoke about.
All right.
Yeah. So if you wanted to change one thing in this world, or even for women in Indonesia, anything that you want to speak about, what would that be? What's that one thing that you would like to see a change come through?
I would love all the women have the same access to achieve their dreams, because sometimes again it's the access that they don't have. They don't have the tools, they don't have the vehicle to bring them there. I know that it all depends on how hard we work. It really depends on our capability. But some girls have that, but they just don't have the opportunity to achieve that. So if I can change just one thing, and it could be like very dreamy, I would love that all the girls, despite their background, despite wherever they were born in, I would love to see each of us have the same opportunity to achieve our dream.
Thank you for sharing that dream. And hopefully, one day we'll be able to achieve it. I don't know if this will happen in our generation, but but I do hope that that comes true. Tell us, Galuh, so can you list us some motivational figures that you look at that have inspired you in this journey or continue to inspire in what you do? And why?
To be very honest, I think it's my older sister. She is she's very strong. Sometimes I think about her and I don't know how she handled all of it. Maybe she is not as ambitious as when she was a kid, but she stand up for herself. She's a very strategic person, and she's so brave. I don't know, for the other who listen to it, maybe getting a divorce in your culture is something that is very common. But in my village, if you try to speak about divorce, it's very bad, especially if you're a young woman. And she did it. She did it for herself, even though no one other than me was really support her. She's still doing it. The second one is why I say that she's very strategical is because in day one of her marriage, she know that she doesn't want to have a kid from her husband at the time. So she went to our local clinic in the village and asked for contraception. And the only one that was available at the time was the injection. And I didn't know that she took that since day one of her marriage. And she told no one, not even me, until I think the third years of her marriage, she finally told me. And I asked her, oh my God, how did they react? Because I cannot imagine, in my village, if someone asks you oh, make me not be able to be pregnant, it would be very bad. And she said, every time I come there, they keep telling me that I will go to hell. And she's still coming every single month because she wants to stand up for herself. And I think that is a very brave and very courageous. And yeah, she is my biggest inspiration.
Thank you for sharing that story. Again, a very powerful story. Thank you. We are coming up to the hour, Galuh. Is there a few last words that you'd like to generally say about your experience in running Mastara? How do you see this evolving into the future, and any words for anybody who's listening at this last segment of this podcast?
I think for anyone, maybe just a little thought I have is that for anyone who was thinking to start something and you cannot stop to think about it, to start and see how it is. Maybe you might be wrong, your hypothesis might be wrong. Maybe this is not exactly what you want to do, but it also can be a very impactful thing for other people. So if you have something in mind and you cannot put it to rest, just try it out. And there's always support out there. I'm very grateful that I always find support along the way, especially in Google, that everyone is always so supportive. And especially because we are in Google, I think the network is amazing. We can always reach out to even just as small as an IP team. I know that if I want to ask something to someone, they will be very happy to answer that. So yeah, if you want to start something, just start and everything will come in place.
Thank you, Galuh. It was an honor to have spoken with you, and thank you for speaking with us. This is a bit different from the other interviews that we have done, but we look forward to working with you, and hopefully we can provide and extend our support. The KNIP team here can extend support to Mastara so that it can continue to flourish and impact the lives of people in Indonesia. Thank you, Galuh.
Thank you so much, Arindam, for the space and the time. And thank you so much for also like for listening to this.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Unplugged podcast. Brought to you by the team at Under the Mango Tree. See you next time.